Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy today's episode.
11 submarines. There are 2 pilots in each submarine, a total of 22 people. When they all crawled out of the submarine and stood in front of eBay, they were like ants. Especially there are countless pairs of murderous eyes staring at them. Snake, Python, what do you want us to do? As long as we can do it, it will definitely be done. A black man got bold and knelt on the ground, his voice trembling. Actually, it is not very difficult to be able to drive a submarine to this kind of place. Presumably you are very good in all aspects, right? My subordinates have to learn in many places, such as how to drive a submarine. For example, talk about the information and knowledge that you carry in your mind. Chi-Chi. Yibei squinted slightly, spitting out the scarlet letter. The mutant monkeys around, all their eyes lit up after hearing this. It's strange. Obviously their hearts are more eager for food, but since the last time they learned how to use some high-tech products at the mercenary base, they have been obsessed with it for this period of time, and want to try again a bit. Hearing what Yibei said, they knew that the food in front of them would soon begin to impart their new knowledge. The mutant monkeys are looking forward to it. However, these 22 humans were stunned on the spot. Then, their gaze swept across the surroundings. Countless mutant pythons and scarlet letter suns can smell a strong smell of blood with just a breath. And the giant python king in front of him, does it want himself, human beings, to teach these pythons knowledge? How about it? Shouldn't it be very easy? I think you can all easily do it in 1 month. Remember, after 1 month, if they can't learn the knowledge you have, what will happen to you? It should be very clear. As Yibei said, the more his voice went to the back, the more his murderous aura rose.
Yes.
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 At this moment, the bodies of the 22 people trembled. In my heart, I feel that this is something that is impossible to accomplish, but it is also a good thing to live an extra month. Maybe in this month, there will be a chance to contact the headquarters secretly, so that the headquarters can send rescue soldiers? Hearing these humans nodded, Yibei was only slightly satisfied. Then he turned his body a bit. His eyes swept across all the mutant beasts. If we want to defeat our enemies, we must first understand them. The information we obtained before is too little. Next, everyone must seriously follow these humans to learn. Of course, don't fall behind in the reproduction. Yibei's tone of command. Chi-chi-chi-chi. Gigi. Roar. Oh. After the sound fell, all the mutant beasts were loudly assured at this moment. But when the sound reached these human ears, it shook their eardrums humming, and the breath of fear spread even more fiercely. For the rest of the time, the 22 human beings who were captured have performed the task of teaching very seriously. At the beginning, they felt that this task was incredible. Deep down, they believed that these beasts were low-level creatures, had no IQ, and were difficult to civilize. But as time went by, their hearts became more and more shocked. No matter what you teach, almost all of these beasts can learn at the fastest speed, and they are able to master them. Their IQ is not known to be higher than many human geniuses. This point is far beyond the expectations of the 22 people. Especially the mutant monkeys, their learning speed is simply amazing. In just 10 days, I have learned ordinary English. I can communicate in language. Of course, during this period of time, Yibei also gathered the 269 members of the Lost Race to participate in the study together. After the transformation of the finished product, the evolving potion, there were more than 200 people, each of whom had an IQ like a monster. Everything one learns it. 20 days later, all the lost tribesmen have learned fluent English. This kind of learning speed is something that humans in modern society can't even imagine. 30 days later, the lost tribesmen, mutant monkeys, and even mutant reticulated pythons have all learned to operate submarines. The 22 humans also completed the task, imparting all the knowledge they knew. The only pity is that in these 30 days, every move of these humans is under the monitoring of the mutant beasts, and there is no chance at all to send distress messages to the base. And, at the base, during this time, it turned out to be surprisingly calm. Never sent any forces to investigate the situation. Pooh! On the beach, the sea breeze continued to rustle. Snake, snake god, we have taught them all the knowledge. Can we leave us now? Don't worry, we won't say anything here, even if it kills us. Yes, yes, I promise I won't say anything. Snake god, let us go. We will never step here again. Plop, plop. These humans knelt down on the ground, begging eBay expectantly. And eBay's huge black body, entrenched on the beach, perfect body, powerful explosive power. In the eyes of all the mutant beasts, eBay is absolutely invincible. As for this month, except for occasionally devouring some deep sea food delivered by mutant sharks, eBay has always been basking on the beach, listening to these humans imparting knowledge and thinking about how he should choose in the future. Huh. After hearing these human voices, eBay's body moved a little, and he glanced over. Is it true? Although what you have taught very well these days and a lot of knowledge has been passed on, don't forget that I can make a sound directly in your mind in the sea. The same. Your thoughts these days, what is it? What I am going to do when I leave here, I know. Sorry. There is no use value anymore. eBay's voice was cold. Laugh. When he was speaking, the scarlet letter came out of his mouth with a sneer. With a light roll, several humans have fallen into their mouths. Golyulu. Without the slightest hesitation, the muscles in the mouth squirmed and made a grunting sound. In the blink of an eye, the human being swallowed turned into extremely pure energy flowing in eBay's body. Chi 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 chi. Immediately afterwards, eBay did not let go of the remaining humans. In less than 3 seconds, there were 22 people, not one left. The weak eat the strong. The rules of jungle. Anything that threatens oneself must be dealt with immediately, otherwise it will only cause endless trouble. Since this time, eBay's memory as a human being, especially the rules and human nature, has become more and more faint with the changes in his body. He swallowed 22 human beings casually, without any discomfort, but rather detailed taste the deliciousness of blood. Wangwon, Chunhwa fun-seeking, golden lion. In these 30 days, in addition to studying, I see that you have also been letting your subordinates reproduce. Let's talk about the specific results. 22 humans provided eBay with 220,000 evolution points. Chi-Chi. After feeling the warm current of energy flowing in his body, eBay seemed as if nothing had happened. His eyes swept around, and then he snorted and asked, "After all, the main purpose of coming to this lost island this time is to reproduce and enhance combat effectiveness." Wow. Hearing eBay's voice, the mutant beasts were startled. Zizi. Wang Wen's huge body was the first to move out. Wang. During this period of time, our mutant reticulated python family gave birth to more than 1,000 snake eggs, but some of the snake eggs were lost due to some accidents. The number of young snakes, plus the original reticulated python, there are 2,000 in total. Chi 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 chi. When Wang Wen said it was good, eBay's mental power field spread slightly, and he discovered a large number of mutant young snake reticulated pythons, and what made eBay marveled was the reticulated pythons that had been baptized with finished evolution potions. Men, the hatched young snakes have bright eyes and full of wisdom. It's incredible. If they are allowed to reproduce recklessly, it is estimated that it will not be long before human beings will be completely replaced, right? eBay thought to himself, but the number of 2,000 is still too small. You must know that the number of humans is calculated in billions, and the system gave him the task of eBay to develop 10,000 mutant pythons. In this way, the snake clan is still very weak. Where is the golden lion? eBay continued to ask. After this time of getting along, there is no doubt that all mutant beasts regard eBay as the absolute king. Roar. Hearing eBay's voice, the golden lion trembled. The golden hair looked very dazzling under the sunlight. There was a low growl in his mouth. Wang. Our lions are reproducing very slowly. In 1 month, we can't see results at all, but 10 lions are already pregnant, and it won't be long before they will be born. When the golden lion answered, his head was lowered. Compared with the reproduction speed of the mutant reticulated pythons, the lion clan is really pitifully low. Well, You are not to blame. Yibei didn't say much. 1 month is too short. Mutated ants, mutant mice, and everyone? Then Yibei continued to ask. The final result made Yibei quite surprised. For example, ants reproduce very fast. In 1 month, they reproduced more than 20,000. The same is true for mice, from dozens when they left the experimental island to more than 1,000. Through this result, Yibei had an opinion on the matter of reproduction. As an ordinary creature, the faster it multiplies now. The more powerful the creature, the slower it multiplies. In this way, the mutant reticulated python has doubled in just 1 month. This speed is already against the sky. Finished asking the mutant beasts. Then, Yibei turned his attention to the lost tribe. After a month, learning from those 22 people, plus some of the information that Yibei had passed on, the entire lost race has achieved unprecedented improvements in civilization. One of the most obvious is that they have learned to use wild animal skins to make clothes for their bodies. The patriarch, D, and some people with identities in the tribe even took away the clothes of the 22 people and put them on. Seeing Yibei's eyes swept across. The lost tribesmen stunned and knelt on one knee, with faith and surrender in their eyes. You probably have some understanding of human matters, and you also learned English. In addition, with your IQ, it should not be very difficult to integrate into the human world. There are 11 submarines here, and on the Lost Island there are also a lot of big trees. It shouldn't be difficult to build some ships. Next, I will ask everyone to help you build ships as quickly as possible and send you off the Lost Island, dive into the human world, and explore for our beast gods. Road. Chi-Chi. Yibei slowly spit out Shinzi. These words were said directly in a commanding gesture. The lost tribesmen, after hearing this, a touch of sadness appeared in their eyes, but soon, their eyes became extremely firm and enthusiastic. Although they said they would leave the place where they lived for the rest of their lives, they were driven by strong beliefs. Beibei's work is more important than anything else. In addition, the human world, those novel things, really make them very interested. Master Beast God, don't worry, I will definitely complete the task. Wearing clothes on the stalk, the skin is healthy wheat yellow. The eyebrows are thick black. The spear is no longer used as a weapon in his hand, and his hair is very clean. When he speaks, he looks firm. It looks very beautiful. Yes, Lord Beast God, said a dark-skinned man with violent muscles. Those humans deserve to die. Kneeling on one knee next to the T was a weaker man. Faith made him crazy. When he said this, his eyes were full of murderous intent, as if he had no intention to deal with humans outside the island. Any favors? All human beings who discard their faith are traitors. The patriarch's body is trembling, perhaps because of his age. His eyes are full of wisdom. Yibei's eyes calmly rested on these humans. For these 4 people, he remembered a little bit more deeply. Very good. Mutant monkeys, orangutans, and Wangwan, you helped them quickly knock down some big trees and build ships. Yibei nodded and continued. And, while saying these words, his head slightly raised, looking at the endless sea. Invade humans? Oh, no. It's the plan to go to the human world and get back everything that belongs to you. Starting today, it's going to be completely unfolded. I don't know what happened to Guyu at this time. Lost Island, on the beach. The mutant beasts around have all dispersed. Reproduction that should go to reproduction. The shipbuilding that should help the lost people build ships is proceeding in an orderly manner. Yibei's huge body was entrenched on the beach, and the sun was shining, and the cold body warmed. At the same time, Donghi City. In a suburban private villa, there are almost no other buildings around, so there is absolutely no fear of interference. Villa. On the 2nd floor, on the sofa, sits a woman in a short black suit. Short hair. Fair skin. The first feeling it gives people is ability. It's just that at this moment, this woman stared at the front with extremely shocked eyes, because right in front of her, there are 4 blood eagles. The whole body is bright red, and the head is very large. The sharp claws, under the light of the light, reflect cold light, as if they can tear everything. The reason? It was because at this moment a blood eagle was in front of the computer, slowly tapping the keyboard with its sharp claws. Unable to communicate through voice, this blood eagle is actually beating on the computer, communicating with Guyu in words, and this blood eagle that is beating on the computer is exactly the blood moon sent by eBay. Unbelievable. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would never detail a blood eagle, and I would use a computer. Bang bang. Listening to the rhythmic keyboard sound, Guyu said involuntarily, "My wisdom is not worse than that of humans. As long as I have enough time, to learn human language is not difficult." Just as Guyu's voice fell, Blood Moon had already typed out such a line on the computer. "We have known each other for almost 2 months, you mean? Your king sent you here. But your king is a giant python?" Guyu took a deep breath. From the shock, fear, and bewilderment when I first saw the Blood Moon. Familiarity and acquaintance now. But even if 2 months have passed, Guyu still wowed with countless wonders about this blood eagle. Yes, it is indeed a huge python. Blood Moon typing is fast. In fact, Guyu had asked this question several times. But every time she asks here, her emotions will slowly start to lose control. The face that originally seemed extremely firm, at this moment, seemed to have received some kind of blow, slowly lowered his head, and then the whole body was nestled on the sofa, making a sobbing cry. Because instinct told her Guyu, that huge python is probably the dead eBay. However, while crying bitterly, during this period of time, Guyu's heart was constantly making various decisions. If this is the case, she would definitely find a way to help eBay escape human pursuit. Let him live well. Lost Island, on the beach. Laugh. eBay, who had been quietly basking in the sun, suddenly opened his eyes. This time is too peaceful. The sun is shining every day, but today, eBay suddenly felt that the air became a little bit cold. Above the sky, some dark clouds began to drift by, and it seemed that a huge storm was about to sweep this sea area before long. The calmer it is, the more it proves that there is a big problem. This judgment is true. 2 months later, since the last submarine incident, no humans have come over. Chi-Chi. eBay spit out Shinzi and muttered to himself. I have to say that eBay's hunch is still very accurate. When he said this, huge ships in the distance of the sea were rushing towards the Lost Island. There are 200 ships in full. Wow. When sailing on the sea, the speed is extremely fast, and huge waves are constantly set off. Among them, 3 people stood on top of a ship, a Russian man, a black man, and a white man. With different skin colors, but their clothes were exactly the same. Black leather jacket. The ship is equipped with a large number of heavy weapons, and a brand new submachine gun is hung on the waist. The expressions on the 3 people's faces were extremely cold, with an unprecedented killing intent. Yang Chung. This time our mercenary organization is dispatched. It is said that we have received a $2 billion bill. The mission is to explore all the places in the Atlantic Ocean, looking for living creatures. I don't know why, it feels like this task is too strange. What does that guy want to do with so much money? The big Russian man who spoke first, his brows slightly furrowed, a submachine gun in his hand, his eyes locked tightly to the open sea, but unfortunately after sailing for so long, no living creature appeared. Big guy. A lot of things, it's better not to know, but speaking of it, I really know some of the reasons. This time our funder did not hide it. His name is called Ben. It was the white man who answered. He held the submachine gun tightly with both hands, but when he said this, there was a hint of fear in his eyes. This? It's just a simple word. The big Russian and another black man all shuddered. Yang Chung, really Ben? The black voice trembled, and then he continued, Brother, are you sure? It's not a joke. What the does that guy want to do? Hey, Ken Hui Rail, do you think I need to lie to you? Many people know about this, and Ben did not deliberately conceal it. To be honest, I really don't understand what he thinks. Maybe is it the evil taste of the rich? The white man said this very casually. But when I was speaking, some cold sweat sprang up on my forehead. They have been active in the underground world for a long time, but they know the terrible bin. This is one. Just hearing the name is enough to make people chill from the bottom of their hearts. However, soon, these people's eyes became cold again. Anyway, we just need to complete the task properly. $2 billion is enough for our organization to sell our lives. As long as we can complete this task, each of us will receive a generous bonus and we can retire at that time. Hey, yeah, keep going. Wow. The ship drew a white wave on the sea, completely unaware that their fleet of ships had already intruded within 30 kilometers from the lost island without knowing it. Okay. On the beach, Yi Bei, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly widened his eyes. The cold, murderous aura suddenly burst out of his eyes. The ships were discovered by him in an instant. U.S. Hexagonal Building. A young man in a military uniform stepped forward, making a clatter of footsteps. His complexion was a bit hurried. Dong dong dong. A minute later, the man knocked on an office guy. Snapped. When he entered the office, he put his feet together and made a salute gesture. Then he spoke, with some beads of sweat coming out of his forehead, and quickly reported, "Reporter! According to the latest information we found, the Black Snake mercenary group has been completely destroyed, including their mercenary base no longer exists. There are forces like the Atlantic to launch missiles." There was a little anger in his voice. In the conference room, there is an elderly man with white hair on the temples. There is no expression on his face. However, he just simply sat there, giving people a kind of high breath, as if with endless pressure. This kind of breath can only be possessed by people who have been in high positions for a long time. Shooting missiles into the Atlantic Ocean will completely destroy the Black Snake mercenary organization? It's interesting. If I remember well, the Black Snake mercenary organization was trained by Ben? Didn't he respond? The old man spoke slowly, his voice extremely calm, as if this matter was no big deal to him at all. Reporter Chief, according to reliable information, Ben has hired a mercenary organization to go to the Atlantic, but their mission is not revenge, but to find living creatures over there. The young man's voice is not loud, and the sweat on his forehead is getting more and more. Is there only these? With your intelligence capabilities, the news must be more than that. Let's talk. What organization is the force that fired missiles to the Atlantic side? The old man squinted his eyes and stared at it. Young man. Reporter this? Say. Snapped. The young man saluted again, with his feet close together, making a snap. Reporter sir, according to the information we have obtained, it is the 51st area that launched the missile. But we can't find out who it is, our authority. By the time he said this, the man's face was already covered with cold sweat. The back is soaked with sweat. After investigating this matter, it was found to be related to the 51st district, and there was no further progress. District 51? Sitting in the office, the old man, who had always been very calm, moved slightly. Then he waved his hand. Let's stop here. Next, I'll talk to Your Excellency the President in person. You don't need to mix up this matter anymore. Also, the agents who participated in this investigation will also let them take a few days off. The voice is still very calm. The young man, after hearing this, he sighed with relief and did not dare to hesitate any longer, turned and walked towards the outside of the office at the fastest speed. But just as the man just closed the office door, the old man, he picked up a white phone on the table and dialed a number quickly with his finger. Hey, it's me. Several agents know too much. When it comes to SSSS intelligence, send someone to solve them. Remember live. Don't leave any clues.
Yes.
A low voice came from the phone and then hung up. The elderly man, only a faintly murderous intent was revealed in his eyes, slowly stood up and pressed the button on the table to notify the secretary. Get the car. Go and see the president now. 10 minutes later. There are only two people in a very luxurious meeting room. One of them was the old man, and the other was the dark-skinned man. Other than that, there was no one around, and all were called out. These two people, without a doubt, exist at the pinnacle of American power. Your Excellency, The firing of missiles into the Atlantic in the 51st District has a great impact. Our agents have already detected some intelligence. Ben has also hired a mercenary organization to go to the Atlantic to investigate. If it is correct, if it is, in the international arena, as long as the countries with a little strength know this, how do you plan to solve it? The old man spoke, and when facing the president, he did not feel much pressure. The reason is simple. In fact, he knew very well about the 51st District. Those experiments are the secrets of the SSSSS level of the Federation. The entire Federation, now only he and the president know. The experimental island and the mercenary base were all destroyed. According to the information I know, it seems that something big happened over there. A group of mutant beasts sneaked into the sea. The black president looked very dark. What? The old man, who had always been very calm, suddenly stood up from his seat after hearing this. Your Excellency, are you sure you are not kidding? They escaped. Mutant beast. Living plants. It's also about the mutant human beings in the deepest part of the Sahara Desert. How terrible they are. This old man knows deeply. If used well, they will be a sharp weapon. If not used well, they are definitely the source of destruction. This is not a joke. I actually sent someone to investigate immediately after launching the missile. I didn't see any remains of mutant beasts near the original experimental island. The black president's voice is a little hoarse. Why are you telling me now? There was some anger on the old man's face. This is a big deal, an absolute big deal. Don't you know it now? Sir, calm down. Maybe those mutant beasts were turned into water vapor by the intense high temperature under the bombardment of missiles, or they fell into the sea and became food for fishes. They are creatures on land and do not move in the sea. The location of the experimental island has cut off their way back. The black president took a few deep breaths. The seriousness of the matter, he actually knows better than anyone. If the mutant beasts are really allowed to grow, sooner or later an unprecedented disaster will erupt. But something has happened. Now I can only pray that all the mutant beasts will die. But at this moment, the black president, as well as the old man, could not even dream of it. The mutant beasts on the experimental island not only did not die, but gained wisdom beyond humans, and even computers and weapons can be easily used. If they knew this, their complexion would be extremely wonderful. But, dong dong dong, just as they were thinking about the possible disaster that the mutant beasts might bring, there was a rapid knock on the door outside the meeting room. The sound shocked the two of them. I have been strictly instructed before, no matter what happens, don't disturb. Now there are people knocking on the door. That can only show that at this moment, somewhere on the earth, something unprecedented has happened. The two immediately thought of the mutant beasts attacking humans. The Lost Island. Black clouds slowly covered the island, and a heavy rain seemed to be coming again. Those lost race humans, with the help of mutant monkeys, orangutans, and other mutant beasts, all the ships have been built almost, and they can enter the sea at any time. As for the mutant beasts, as another month passed, the effect of reproduction became more obvious. Wow! At this moment, on the sea, a white wave spreading more than 100 meters, constantly churning, the sound of crashing. At the very front of the waves, a huge black head rose outside. A pair of cold eyes, terrifying to the extreme. Yes, it was eBay who made such waves. And right in front of eBay, the ships were still advancing fast, and no abnormality in front was found at all. Wow! Go on. And if you find any living creatures, surround yourself. If there is a threat, shoot and kill on the spot. Fast. Faster. There will be a storm right away. After exploring this area, we will go back. On the ship, the commander kept shouting orders. This mission is to search the entire Atlantic Ocean. No place can be missed. The mission volume is very large. In fact, these fleets have been performing missions for several days. Only today did they enter Yebes within the scope of the field. But just when the commanders said they were about to return, all three men on a ship had their eyes widened. And this ship is exactly where Yang Cheng, Gan Huai, Rail and others were before. Selling karma. What's that up front? Yang Cheng's eyes widened. See, Sea monster? Wow. Manhwa raised the submachine gun for the first time, and his voice trembled. Report, 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 sir. We found an abnormality here. Rail roared loudly, his voice intermittently, with unprecedented fear. Because, in their sight, a huge head was swiftly swimming towards the ship they were on. The sea was blue, and it was daytime, so you could easily see the seabed several meters deep. It is a body over 100 meters long. The whole body is pitch black. At the moment it appeared, there was still a majestic murderous intent spreading around the air, making the air feel cold. And, just when they made such a noise, their eyes widened. As Ibe's distance narrowed, they finally saw clearly what it was. Snake. Python. God. Is this our task? Guys, we found the goal. Encircle it. The three yelled. The ships that were originally going to withdraw, hearing the situation here, did not realize that death was coming quietly at this moment. When they regarded Ibe as the mission target, Ibe, who had already swam over, also regarded them as them. The swallowed object. Wow. The surrounding ships came out quickly. The sound of crashing continued. As for Ibe, when he swam over, the spiritual power realm had actually probed the situation around here clearly. When there was a certain distance from the ship that Manhwa, Rail, and Yang Chung were riding in, Ibe stopped decisively. The body was entangled in the sea, not moving at all. Since these human beings have been constantly asking for trouble, let them teach them the most painful lesson. With my current strength, there is no need to hide. The existence of the death forest has long been beneficial to the invincible. Now, it's good to test the bottom line of human beings first. While not moving, Ibe's mind had such a thought. Yes, for these 2 months, he has been thinking on the beach of Lost Island. With the passage of time, the constant provocation of human beings, and Ibe's more and more feeling that the memories of his own human beings are slowly changing, and the human nature is becoming weaker and weaker. So he must take advantage of some memories. When? Do something. Wow. At sea, the speed of ships is very fast. Because Ibe didn't move, the ships that came around, and the mercenaries wearing black clothes on them, did not take the initiative. But, as more and more ships encircled Ibe, the shocking appearance of the mercenaries on the ships became more and more colorful. The most amazing thing is, on one of the ships, there was a man from China. When he saw Ibe floating in the azure water, his body trembled violently. He couldn't hold the submachine gun at all. His complexion was red. His breathing was extremely rapid. His eyes were almost staring out, and his mouth appeared. There is even a word in Chinese constantly muttering, dragon, dragon, dragon. 10 minutes later, the two ships all surrounded, forming a circular enclosure. On every ship, there are mercenaries carrying submachine guns and aiming them at Ibe's head. Who? But without exception, when they saw Ibe's appearance clearly, they exhaled each and every one of them. Their bodies trembled slightly, and their eyes widened. The worldview was completely overturned. This one seems to be a python, but he didn't move. It should be seen that we are too numerous, frightened, and not aggressive. Everyone can find a way to control him. As long as he is brought back, the mission of Bin, we will have the bonus. After being shocked, a commander suddenly said loudly, "Wow." Such a remark immediately triggered a chain effect. The atmosphere at the scene was very strange, even quiet. Then, all the mercenaries, at this moment, all boiled and cheered. Ibe didn't move, making these mercenaries feel like they had shocked him. Catch him. A miracle, an absolute miracle. If this monster is published, the whole world will be shocked. Hurry up. It's best to get a piece of meat from him and taste it. For such a big monster, the meat must be pretty good, right? Everyone, don't shoot. This snake hasn't moved. First try to see if he is alive. Wow. The ship spun around Ibe again. Ibe's body was entangled in the sea. Only half of his head and a pair of eyes were exposed. Seeing the performance of these humans, he couldn't help feeling sad for these humans. It was really a group of self-righteous species, obviously not capable of swallowing infinitely, but when he saw any creature, he wanted to take a bite. Chi-Chi. When he thought of this, Yi Bei's mouth directly vomited a scarlet letter, and he spoke slowly. The Atlantic Ocean, the Blue Sea. A python of more than 180 meters, entrenched in the sea, body motionless. Around this python, a large number of ships surrounded it into a circle. Each ship, there were at least 3 people, and there were more than a dozen. Everyone's expression was filled with unprecedented excitement in addition to fear. But just when these humans thought that the great harvest was coming, their bodies trembled suddenly as if they were struck by lightning. Chi-Chi. In their sight, the python that was originally entrenched in the sea opened its mouth and snorted out the scarlet letter. Then, everyone heard it clearly. Humans, since you have found them again, then, this time, is it meant to declare war? Yi Bei's voice was cold. The universal language of biology directly transformed Yi Bei's voice into extremely fluent English, which was extremely clear to every human ear at the scene. The voice was low and hoarse, but under Yi Bei's specific body, it seemed like a rainbow. Yang Cheng opened his mouth wide. Gan Huai opened his mouth wide. Rail opened his mouth wide. The commanders also opened their mouths wide. All the mercenaries in black clothes standing on the ship opened their mouths wide. Hoo! The sea breeze was getting stronger and louder, making their cheeks aching, without even noticing them. 1 second, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. 10 seconds passed. These talents suddenly reacted. The submachine gun in the hands of some people fell on the deck of the ship. The eyes of some people burst into horror, and the bodies of some people kept trembling as if they had seen the most incredible things in the world. Wow! In this extremely strange atmosphere, these humans finally exploded. The crashing sound. Oh, God! Did everyone hear it just now? Python. Did the python speak? This monster can speak English? Gosh, it's incredible. He seems to say he wants to declare war with us. Miracle, a miracle of the world. This python will make a sensation in the world. Shocked, panicked, but in the end, the excitement became richer. When these mercenaries looked at Yi Bei, the greed in their eyes was unobstructed, even mixed with endless curiosity. Really, a group of ignorant guys. Haven't you figured out the situation so far? Yi Bei's eyes became more and more cold, and the voice of the system immediately resounded in his mind. Host. Swallowing these humans will provide the host with a lot of evolutionary points. If all of them are swallowed, the physical quality will be improved again. Please take good care of the host. The system's voice has no emotion this time. But this guy made it clear that Yi Bei would do it. Food, devour, evolve. Yi Bei's originally dark pupil, at this moment, some blood red slowly appeared. Since it's here, don't leave. Chi-Chi. Spit the scarlet letter, the cold voice continued. Many humans have a cold back after feeling this terrible killing intent, but there are also many people who don't seem to care about it at all, and are still thinking about how to take this giant python away. Wow. Yi Bei's voice fell, no longer being wordy. His huge body moved slightly above the sea, and it set off a huge crashing wave. Quickly, get the internet. Throw the net and wrap him up. This python seems to be running away. Attention everyone. He must not be allowed to escape. If he can't catch him, he will shoot. Similar to this sound, the moment continues. This kind of voice strengthened Yi Bei's determination to massacre this mercenary organization. Boom. Finally, Yi Bei started. Oh, no. It was Yi Bei who directly used that huge body and slammed it on a ship. After countless times of strengthening, its hardness was stronger than steel, almost nothing. With force, a ship was directly banged and exploded by Yi Bei. Rumble. A huge explosion resounded in the sea. Chi-Chi. Yi Bei's speed was too fast. At the moment of the explosion, his scarlet letter rolled up, easily involving the humans on the ship into his mouth, and gulped it down. As the first ship exploded, the mercenaries on it were swallowed by Yi Bei. This time, the mercenaries on the other ships finally realized the seriousness of the matter. The giant python in front of him possesses a super attack power. I was really negotiating with everyone just now. Boom. Booming. Boom. Booming. Yibei's side is no longer delayed now. The huge body is moving freely in the sea, and these ships are like toys in front of him, and they can be easily destroyed by lifting their bodies casually. Black smoke. The explosion fragments full of the sea consecutively swallowed more than 10 humans and gained more than 100,000 evolution points. At this moment, the ships that were still left reacted. Shot. Quick. Attack. Kill this monster. Ah. Kill him. Da-da-da. Rumble. Above the sea, all the silence was broken. Each ship carried a large amount of artillery fire. The mercenaries above had listed Yibei as a monster, and fear urged them to keep shooting. Da-da-da. The bullet hit Yibei's body and couldn't even penetrate into the skin. Some bombs bombed Yibei's body, but they could cause certain traces. However, the mercenaries at the scene were definitely the best source of energy. Roar. Wow. Yibei directly ignored the attack, devoured it crazily, and destroyed it crazily. There are human beings that have been swallowed to replenish energy, and any body that has suffered some damage is healed at the fastest speed. 10 ships, 50 ships, 100 ships, 200 ships. Time passed, and after an hour passed, there were debris of ships floating everywhere in the Atlantic Ocean. As long as you take a deep breath, you can smell the smoke of gunpowder in the air and the rich smell of blood. Wow! Yibei's body was still proudly entrenched above the sea. With a slight movement, there was a huge sound of waves. The body was completely dark, and after being dipped in Shanghai water, under the reflection of the light, there was a tendency to brighten black. Bright red blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were deep and his eyes were indifferent. Then he raised his head slightly. Those eyes did not have any emotion. And just above Yibei, at an altitude of tens of thousands of meters, 3 satellites recorded everything here and converted them into images and videos, which were immediately passed back to the control base of this satellite. I have to say that in the United States, the news company that Baron belongs to is an extremely lucky one. There are only 3 satellites in the whole world that happen to be in that position. In addition to this news corporation, one is a dedicated military satellite of the U.S. Hexagon building. The other one is a satellite owned by Ben. When Ben saw the photos, he sat in front of the computer for a long time. 200 ships were completely destroyed in less than an hour. The combat power displayed by that giant python really shocked Ben. However, if Ben knew that for an hour, Yibei was deliberately releasing the water, and he really showed his full power. If it can be done in 3 minutes, even if he gives him more courage, he will not dare to provoke Yibei again. Right? The images taken by the Hexagon building in the United States were sealed up for the first time and classified as SSSSS classified. However, just when the forces from all sides were surging and prepared to hide what happened on the Atlantic side and send their own forces to share a piece of the pie, a shocking news reverberated throughout the world without warning. Yes, News Corporation, which was lucky enough to get the photo, shot it. All of its magazines, newspapers, and online news have a huge section at the same time. North of the Atlantic Ocean, a huge sea monster appeared. A python easily destroyed hundreds of ships, and the danger of all mankind is coming. Nuclear variation? Or is the government deliberately hiding something? We need the truth. The resembles the Eastern dragon. Is this a demon? The world is in danger, a disaster for all navigators. Various news headlines that are eye-catching are like mushrooms after the rain, and in addition to the headlines, the content inside is a certain analysis of the Atlantic events, and a lot of photos are attached. When these news suddenly came out, people all over the world were stunned. America. Presidential conference room. A knock on the door. The black president, an elderly man, was taken aback. Come in. After anticipating a bad event, the black president whispered immediately. Creak. The people in the conference room were pushed away. A man in a black suit looked panicked. As he walked, he said loudly, Your Excellency, something has happened. Something has happened. A news company has reported to the Atlantic regarding the sea monsters. They don't know where they got the photos and videos. Now the entire United States knows it, and depending on the situation, the whole world will know it. What? Originally, the black president and the elderly man were discussing the mutated python in the Atlantic Ocean, and it has absolutely still been listed as the top secret, and it does everything possible to cover it up. As a result, this kind of news broke before the discussions were over. This time, the face of the black president became even darker. The old man, his eyes whited, almost fainted to the ground. Your Excellency, the photos published by News Corporation have already been analyzed by many people on the internet, and they have determined that they are not fake photos, but real ones. These are information. Obviously, the man in suit who broke into the conference room hadn't realized that His Excellency the President's expression was very abnormal. When speaking, he took out a document from his arms and handed it to the general in front of him. In the picture taken by the deputy satellite, a huge python occupies the sea, frantically attacking a large number of ships. The information is here. You go out first. Who? The black president took a few deep breaths, trying to calm himself down. Old man. His heartbeat is about to explode. News Corporation, and those news corporations, for profit and news, don't they realize how terrible this thing is? If it really broke out, I don't know how many people will be implicated in it. But, Your Excellency, this matter is too urgent. Are you not going to issue documents next? The man in the suit wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Get out. However, the black president swept across with a cold gaze. The man in the suit wanted to say something, but after seeing the president's unkind gaze, he bent his waist slightly and quickly retreated. The meeting room was extremely silent. The black president and the middle-aged man were silent. After more than 10 seconds, the black president slowly said, "Sir, what do you think of this matter?" The matter has been exposed. Think of a way to cover it up. Anyway, it is claimed that the photos are synthesized. The alien affairs and the traces of the civilization of the beasts are not hidden like this. In addition, dispatched armed personnel, when going to the Atlantic, we must catch the exposed mutant python. That fellow is out of our control. The old man's gaze was silent, and then he spoke seriously. The two of them are worthy of being the men who stand at the pinnacle of power in the world. With such a thing, they were able to restore peace so quickly, and they also figured out a solution. I agree with this proposal. Let's release the documents immediately. Wow. The black president got up, walked to the office desk, pulled out a document from it, and quickly wrote the text. The two of them thought about continuing to hide. What happened on the Atlantic Ocean directly caused a huge sensation in the whole world. Major countries have reprinted it one after another, and major governments have also paid great attention to this matter. Researchers have been found to perform the most detailed analysis of these photos to determine whether they are synthesized. I have to say that the response of major countries is extremely fast, and the image analysis experts only took less than an hour to confirm the authenticity of the photos. Suddenly, the brains of the world and major countries were about to hold emergency meetings. The atmosphere of the whole world has become weird. Although it's just a mutant python in the photo, but the major countries are not stupid. If this kind of creature can appear one, it can appear two, and its attack power is too strong. The country is acting. Those ordinary people, naturally, must join in the fun. On the internet, in major forums, in major groups, where humans can communicate with each other, they are discussing this matter intensively, and it has become the hottest topic in the world almost overnight. But, Donghai City, in that very remote villa, Guyu was still sitting on the sand on the second floor. In the living room, the TV was turned on, and events about the Atlantic sea monsters were being broadcast. When pictures were played from the TV, her body trembled more and more. Even the blood moon standing in the hall saw the scene, and his body trembled. Blood moon, is he your king? When the photo on the TV had reached the fifth one, Guyu suddenly spoke slowly. China, East China Sea, Villa. Guyu sat on the sand. During the recent period, with the help of Blood Moon, Yishan didn't dare to trouble her at all. However, the existence of the Blood Moon is so special that Guyu has kept it in this villa and dare not expose it. Is he your king? Gu Yu's voice was very soft. When I said this, my inner thoughts were extremely complicated. For some reason, the python in the photo gave her a very familiar feeling. Yes, he is our king. However, the current king seems to have become stronger. When he left last time, the king was not like this. However, nothing happens to the king. Strange, isn't it? There is a computer next to the blood moon. After hearing Gu Yu's question, his paw quickly tapped the keyboard to type out such a line. After reading, Gu Yu was silent. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes. After half an hour passed, Gu Yu continued to speak. I want to see him. Gu Yu had made up his mind here, but the atmosphere in the villa was surprisingly silent. However, several other places are completely different. Yishan is also paying attention to the news. During this time, he has lived extremely chicly. The company has become his utterance. No one dares to disobey him. The only regret is that he has never had the opportunity to get Gu Yu. It's amazing. There are such creatures in this world. From the photos, it looks like a dragon. If our company can get it, then it will be done. Then it will be made into specimens and placed in the company. The lobby will definitely be the focus of attention, right? Looking at the photo, Yishan's mouth showed a sneer. This kind of thought came up, enough to show how crazy this guy is inside. Yi Kun and Wu Lian were Yi Bei's parents, and they also saw the news. Kun, this photo is really weird. I don't know why. When I see it, I always feel something is wrong. What's the matter? Wu Lian saw the news first, using a tablet. When Yi Bei stood proudly on the Atlantic Ocean, her mouth was full of blood, her body trembled, and she hurriedly took the tablet to show Yi Kun. Okay. Yi Kun took the tablet. After seeing the image inside, his eyes shrank, and a strange feeling rose in his heart. But the next moment, he shook his head violently. You should have taken more rest recently. The company has Shaner looking at it. Although this photo is very strange, it has nothing to do with us. Let them make trouble. When I said this, my brows frowned slightly, and then I shut down the tablet. In addition to these people, everyone in the world is talking about this. Someone is afraid. But there are countless people who are extremely excited, especially those who like to explore, are curious about UFO and unknown creatures, prompting them to have the idea of going to the Atlantic immediately, as if in the photo, the bloodthirsty posture of the python cannot scare them at all. Some organizations with a little bit of power spent the first time to set up expedition teams and wanted to visit the Atlantic Ocean. After all, being able to obtain first-hand information and catch a living mutant beast alive would be a huge wealth. Interest. Greedy. Human nature. At the moment Yi Bei was exposed, in the human world, it was almost staged to the extreme. The Atlantic Ocean. There are floating debris everywhere. There was white smoke on many pieces. After easily destroying all the ships, the sky was finally bubbling with black clouds. The clouds were so low that they were almost sticking to the sea. Click. Rumble. In a short while, a dazzling lightning flashed, and then the huge thunder continued to resound. The strong wind continued, and a huge storm blew on the sea instantly. After this incident, it is estimated that many more humans will bring food over, right? The duel between humans and mutant beasts will begin sooner or later. This chaos is also a good opportunity. Chi. In the storm, Yi Bei spit out Scarlet Letter. With his current physical fitness, he would not be affected by the storm at all. There are more than 200 humans on the Lost Island. Yi Bei's plan is to send them out. It's just that there was no good opportunity before, but now it's different. Let those humans pretend to be a few forces on the grounds of exploring the Atlantic Ocean. Just do it. Who? Thinking of this, Yi Bei's huge body dived directly into the sea and rushed towards the Lost Island. The Lost Island. Patriarch, our ships have all been built, but now there is a storm, and it is definitely impossible to sail out. What should I do next? Continue waiting? A lost tribe looked at the gloomy sky and then said to the Patriarch in a little anxiety, "Isn't there a few submarines before? Let some people take the submarine to leave first. That should be easy to operate. Turn off all the communication equipment on it. Try to find a way to sneak into the human world. As for the storm, wait for the zombie to return, ask him for his opinion. The patriarch also looked up at the sky. Not long ago, the explosion on the Atlantic Ocean was felt on the Lost Island side. The patriarch knew clearly that the zombie must have participated in the war in the past. Grandpa, doesn't matter whether it is stormy or sunny. This is not a reason to affect our going out to sea. After all, completing the mission of the beast god is the most important thing. I believe no matter how heavy the storm is, the beast god will bless us safely. D has now become a believer of Yi-Bei. The belief in Yi-Bei has penetrated into the bone marrow. The upcoming storm, in her opinion, was not a major event at all. On the contrary, her eyes became firmer. But, while they were discussing, a huge black shadow in the distance of the sea was slowly coming towards the lost island. The shadow is more than 50 meters high. The moment they saw the shadow, the eyes of these lost tribes were all respect and fanaticism. Plop, plop, plop. The next moment, it was a thump and fell on one knee. Snake God. The snake is back. So big, this power is too strong. Welcome to the snake God. There was a crazy voice in their mouths. Lost Island is still some distance away from the beach. Yi-Bei entangled half of his body to swim in the water, while the other half of his body was completely exposed above the sea. After seeing the boats of the lost tribes all parked on the beach and a large number of people gathered together, Yi-Bei knew what they wanted to do the first time. Now is not the best opportunity to go to sea. After a while, there should be many humans coming here. At that time, you will be among those humans. It is best to pretend to be in danger and save some humans, so that you can do better find the right identity in the human world. Chi-Chi. Yi-Bei spit out Shinzi, his voice indifferent. At this moment, the plan is like a big net, slowly unfolding. With the destruction of a large number of ships on the Atlantic Ocean, apart from the storm, the Lost Island side returned to calm. The boats that the Lost Tribes took are all built, and only the right opportunity is needed to start sailing. The reproduction of mutant beasts doubled again. Among them, the number of mutant reticulated pythons has passed 4,000. However, there are many young snakes. Next, it takes a lot of time to dive into the bottom of the sea, devour food, and complete the basic evolution of the body. On the beach, Wang Wan, Golden Lion, Chunhua Chioyue all come to report to Yi-Bei. Wang, there are still about 3 days to go. Our mutant lion clan will give birth to lion cubs. The original cycle would be very long, but I don't know why. After devouring so much food, we now have a higher degree of reproduction. Do not kill. Roar. The golden lion spoke, but because of his vocal cords, he still couldn't spit out English, speaking in animal language. That's good. More than 2 months, a batch of multiplication, it is already very good. Yi-Bei nodded. I thought to myself that the mutation rate of the mutated lions accelerated. This should be the reason for the evolution of finished medicine. What about the snake clan? Later, Yi-Bei focused his gaze on Wang Wan. Now the whole snake clan, besides Yi-Bei, the most powerful is Wang Wan. During this time, he has been devouring and evolving. Wang Wan's body has reached 150 meters in length, 3 meters in diameter, and his skin is red and black. Seeing each other, the invisible aura no longer spreads all the time, and even the golden lion looks very weak in front of it. Wang, now there are 3,000 young snakes born in the entire mutant snake clan, and on the Lost Island, we have also found many other types of snakes: cobras, water snakes, red snakes, bamboo leaf green snakes. These snakes, we did not kill, but directly subdued them as one of us, but they did not enlighten the wisdom and still need the help of the king. Zizi. Wang Wen's body moved forward a bit, and his huge body made a creaking sound on the beach. Okay. As for Yi-Bei, his eyes lit up suddenly after hearing Wang Wen's words. Yes. How come I have forgotten such a crucial thing all the time? There are a full 108 species of snake species in the world, and there are more species of other creatures. The mutant beasts on the experimental island were all taken by humans for research before, and there are very few species. But the whole Earth is different. There are too many beasts of all kinds. Since human beings can produce evolution potions, then If one can obtain that potion and let all creatures in the world evolve, wouldn't the number of snakes reach tens of millions in an instant? Whew. Thinking of this, Yi Bei's breathing became quicker. Previously, his own ideas were too narrow. He stayed on the Lost Island to reproduce. It is better to go to the Sahara Desert to obtain the evolving potions, and then sprinkle the potions in the Amazon forest, and finally directly use powerful means to kill them. Accept all, and then grant the finished evolution potion according to the degree of faithfulness. Very well, Wang Wen. Your practice is very good. If you encounter snakes in the future, you will accept them all, as well as the golden lions. The same is true for you, the lion clan. There should be many in the world. Don't just accept them. Reproduce much faster. Chi. Yi Bei spit out Shinzi and said very seriously. After hearing this, Golden Lion, Wang Wen, Chunhua Qiuyue, all of their eyes lit up, and their eyes lit up. If they did this, expanding the mutant beast army would definitely increase countless times instantly. Roar. However, the Golden Lion seemed to have thought of something soon, and opened his mouth. King, this kind of expansion of the race is indeed very good. But, if all the ordinary beasts are taken into subordinates, will we not urgent shortage of food sources? Golden Lion spoke very seriously. Wang Wen, Chunhua Qiuyue, looking for pleasure and joy, his body was a little startled, because it was indeed very reasonable. But when he looked at the Golden Lion, his eyes were a lot of coldness. This guy, even the king dared question. As for Yi Bei, he didn't have much thoughts about Golden Lion's remarks. As an apostle, Golden Lion had systematic help, and he was completely tied to himself. The possibility of betrayal was almost zero. On the contrary, Yi Bei actually needs them to have an independent way of thinking. Only in this way can the mutant beast group develop in a more excellent direction. Chi. Yi Bei's eyes were slightly narrowed, and the scarlet letter was continuously spit out from his mouth. The Golden Lion trembled, and he realized that he had said the wrong thing, lowered his head, ready to wait for Yi Bei's anger. But next, not only did Yi Bei not be angry, but instead said something very indifferent. Golden Lion, this idea of yours is very good, and it is indeed reasonable, but do you know how many humans are in this world? Chi. Yi Bei's voice was calm, but deep in his eyes, there was a cold, murderous intent. The body of this cold-blooded Titan Python had already had a huge impact on Yi Bei's will, and his feelings for humans had faded with the continuous evolution. Humans? Are there many? Facing Yi Bei's question, the Golden Lion lowered his head. His voice was very small, and his mouth was muttering. Humanity? Wang Wen next to him spit out a letter, his eyes bursting with terrible murderous aura unceremoniously. In his opinion, human beings are just the most delicious food. As long as he encounters it, he will definitely swallow it unceremoniously. It seems that their weapons are very powerful, but in terms of the number, I really don't know. Chunhua Qiuyue, the pleasure-seeking is also whispering. Although their voices were small, Yi Bei could hear them very clearly. The total number of human beings is close to 7.4 billion, which is one of the most numerous creatures on the planet. Every day, the number of beasts slaughtered by them for food can reach 10 million, and our total number now is less than 20,000. Wang Wen, Golden Lion, and you, do you think there is still a shortage of food? Chi. Yi Bei's voice is still very flat. 7.4 billion? To be honest, Wang Wen, Golden Lion, and the others don't have much idea about this number. But after hearing Yi Bei say that these humans kill tens of millions of beasts as food every day, their bodies immediately burst out with terrible killing intent. Humanity, standing at the top of the food chain, treat all other creatures as food and slaughter wantonly. Why can't all this be reversed? There are so many human beings. If human beings are raised in captivity and used as food, is definitely the most suitable choice? So, food. We don't lack it all. Those humans must be enough. Chi. After feeling the killing intent on Wang Wen, Golden Lion, and the others, Yi Bei spit out the letter, and the leisurely voice came out again. The cold, murderous aura spread wantonly in the air.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.